You know, diving into these reminiscences of a stock operator excerpts, I thought it'd be, well, a dry read. But honestly, I was blown away. Jesse Livermore's story, even fictionalized, it just grabs you, you know? It's like we're getting this inside look at a Wall Street legend.
It's a classic, for a reason. Even with the made-up parts, the lessons about speculation, human nature, and the markets, that's timeless stuff.
Totally. And what gets me is young Jesse, obsessed with stock prices, but not in the way you'd think. It was the numbers themselves, almost like a code he had to crack.
All right. Most people, they see dollar signs. Livermore, he saw this puzzle. Kid's got this head for math, sees patterns, habits, he called them, in the price moves. Basically doing technical analysis before it even had that name.
So expert, how do we, bring that back to today? With all the news, company hype, how do we get that focus Livermore had?
It's about, I guess, separating the signal and the noise, like how he tracked prices. We can use charts, watch lists, see the patterns without the stories the media loves to spin.
So we block out the noise, focus on the raw data.
Exactly. Don't get lost in the hype. Ask, what's the price saying? Is it doing this again? Is it not doing what everyone expects? Those are the clues Livermore lived for.
And those clues led him to some, well, interesting places. Bucket shops, they weren't your typical Wall Street firm, were they?
Oh, man, not at all. Think like the Wild West of trading. Off-track betting, but for stocks. And this is where 14-year-old Jesse, already spotting patterns, he starts making a name for himself.
The boy plunger, right. Cleaning up, even getting banned for being too good. Sounds like a movie.
Shows his talent, sure, how adaptable he was, but we got to be careful, right? Bucket shop success, it's not the same as mastering the market. He was beating the shop itself,
Yeah.
not the actual market forces.
Big difference, like crushing a video game on easy mode. The real test is when you step up to the big leagues.
Exactly. And Livermore, he learns this the hard way, moving to real brokerage firms. Tape reading skills, he's got them, but something's missing. He needs to shift, see speculation from a whole other angle.
Yeah, it's like he's got all the moves but doesn't know the playbook yet, right? He says he needs to see speculation from another angle after those brokerage losses. What's he figuring out there, expert?
Well, in the bucket shops, right, it's all about those quick price moves. Almost like he's exploiting the shop's system more than the market itself.
So, different game entirely.
Exactly. Real brokerage firms, it's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
That's where he has to learn, the real deal is about spotting those big long-term trends, not just like these little blips on the radar.
So instead of riding every wave, he needs to feel the whole tide,
Perfect
right?
analogy. And just like waiting for the right wave, Livermore says sitting tight was tougher than picking the right trades, which, coming from him, is kind of wild, right?
Yeah, the guy known for bold moves, saying patience is key. It's like the opposite of what you'd expect.
It's because it's hard. Our gut says do something. But Livermore, he learns the big money. It's about those long hauls, having the discipline to stick with it even when things get hairy.
Didn't he have that Union Pacific story? That always gets me.
Oh yeah, classic Livermore. Calls a rise in Union Pacific perfectly, right? But then a friend, good intentions, starts questioning him, shakes his confidence. Livermore sells way early, misses out big time.
Talk about snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. That's gotta sting.
It proves the point though, right? Even with good instincts, solid plan, doubts can creep in. Second-guessing yourself, especially under pressure, that's dangerous territory.
Makes you think about all those times we've done that ourselves, right? Talked ourselves OUT of a good trade or clung on to a bad one for too long.
Happens to the best of us. It's part of the game, see? Our hopes, fears, they all get tangled up in our decisions. So I find this so interesting, Livermore, he goes from this impulsive kid to this, disciplined observer. He had to tame his own mind as much as the market itself.
Sounds like he built this internal compass, trusting his own judgment above all else. And that trust led to some, well, gutsy moves later on. But they weren't just out of the blue, right? This guy could practically read the market's mind. He even compares it to a doctor diagnosing a patient.
Isn't that something like a good doctor, checking your symptoms, listening to your history? Livermore, he had this system for understanding the market. No crystal ball, just deep, serious analysis.
So no more fighting the current. He's going with the flow, reading those signs, talking about the line of least resistance. Sounds almost easy when he puts it like that.
Deceptively simple, right? So it's about not fighting the market's direction, up or down. We call it trend following now, momentum trading. But Livermore, he's doing it way back when, just by watching, studying.
And here's the thing. After all that success, refining his methods, he says, "It never was my thinking that made the big money for me. It was my sitting.
That's huge, right? The guy known for big moves, saying it's about stillness.
It's the mental game, you see. Even Livermore, he went broke multiple times. The difference was he mastered his own mind as much as the market, learned to control the hope and the fear, the real enemies for a trader.
So how do we do that? I mean, it's not like we can just shut off our emotions.
Nope, it's a practice, you know.
Okay.
Livermore, he used this neat trick, journaling, writing down every trade, but not just the numbers, his thoughts, how he was feeling at that moment.
Holding himself accountable, basically.
Exactly, seeing those patterns, when fear or greed messed him up, pure feedback, helping him get better over time. Makes sense. And speaking of things that hit hard, that line of his, "A man may beat a stock, but no man living can beat the stock market." Sobering, you know?
Yeah.
Especially from a guy who'd seen it all.
It changed the whole game, right? You're not outsmarting the market. You're accepting. You can't predict every little thing. It's about playing the odds over the long haul.
Managing risk, staying disciplined, all that good stuff. Well, folks, there you have it, a deep dive into Jesse Livermore. Hopefully you're walking away not just informed, but inspired, right? With some tools to tackle your own investing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Livermore's story, it reminds us, even a century later, the market, it's about psychology as much as it is about numbers.
Yeah.
Know yourself. You're already ahead of the game.